The King of Paintings is the story of a painter who receives a magical pencil with which he can transform any picture into reality. The story begins with Juan, a poor, struggling young man who can't even afford to pay the rent for his apartment. He works as a painter, and although he makes a little money from his art, it's not much. We see him sitting on the street painting a portrait of a beautiful girl. When he finishes, he is amazed by the artwork. But just as he starts to paint a new picture, a luxury car pulls up. Inside is the richest man in the village. Juan is surprised to see that this man is none other than Juan's ex-girlfriend. The rich man deliberately humiliates Juan in front of him. He throws money at him and mocks, "Here you go. This will cover your entire day's income." Then he smiles. Embarrassed, Juan packs his things and heads for his broken-down car. Honestly, it's hard to tell if he's driving or if the car is pulling him. Juan returns to his village, a place filled with artists, galleries, and painters' homes. On his way home, he meets his landlord, who demands back rent. Annoyed, Juan throws the rent in his face. Before he leaves, the landlord tells him, "That's last month's rent. I still have this month's rent left." Juan lazily replies, "I'll pay later." This makes the landlord so angry that he throws a bottle of water at him. Now, you might think that Juan would return the bottle, right? No. Our dear Juan picks up the bottle, gently breaks it, and collects it. At the end of every month, he collects the plastic bottles and sells them. The landlord makes fun of Juan for collecting plastic and cans. Juan then visits his dream gallery, where he wants to exhibit his artwork one day. As he does every day, he asks the gallery owner to sponsor his paintings. He even gives him some money, but the owner laughs and coldly replies, "Your art is trash, Juan." As for his friend Tian, she is blind, and she works as a massage therapist. Unfortunately, she is harassed in this job. People there take advantage of her blindness. One day, Juan catches the person who is harassing her. He tells them exactly what you did to her, and he hopes they will regret their actions. But instead, they gang beat him up. After the beating, Juan and Tian go to the apartment where he treats his wounds. Juan exaggerates, "I beat them all a lot." Tian says, "Yes, I heard them scream in pain from the beating." She doesn't know that it was actually Juan's scream. Juan then surprises her by giving her a pair of shoes. She likes them very much, and they dance together for a while. And just as Juan leans in to kiss her, don't forget to ask why he's kissing her. Then she suddenly hears someone else in the room. He asks, "Who?" Juan quickly says, "Only a friend who was kicked out. He stays with me." He tells his friend to keep his eyes closed, but Tian feels uncomfortable and leaves. Later, Juan and his friend go to the rooftop to drink some red water. They get so drunk that they pass out. Then suddenly, a spaceship appears above them. Juan wakes up in shock and tries to wake his friend. The spaceship is hovering right above their neighborhood. Juan saw a girl coming out of the spaceship. She looked like a cartoon character, and she was pointing at two others who had come down with her. It seemed like they had come to the area to take pictures. Juan tries to take a picture of them, but the idiot forgets that the flash is on. So the aliens see him, and within seconds they disappear with their ship. But Juan notices that they have dropped something. When he goes to check, he finds that it is a pen. Since he is an artist, he keeps it with him and falls asleep. The next morning, he wakes up shaking, and he remembers everything. His friend sees him and jokes, "Are you dead or sleeping?" Juan begins to tell him everything that happened on the roof. But his friend doesn't believe anything and tells Juan, "You drank too much water last night." Juan loses hope that his friend won't believe him and goes out to draw people in the street. He runs out of paint while drawing. He looks for more pens but can't find the right one. Then he sees the alien pen from last night. He decides to use it to finish the picture. First, he tests it on another page, and suddenly the rock he drew becomes real. He is shocked, and to make sure what happened, he draws an apple. Once again, it becomes real. Delighted, he eats the apple to see if it is real, and it is a real apple. Then he puts the apple in his pocket and runs to tell his friend everything. He shows her the remaining part of the apple and explains that he drew a picture of it, and it immediately came to life. But as usual, his friend doesn't believe him. He eats the remaining part of the apple and says, "You're not drunk yet? Go to the hospital quickly." Then Juan, to prove himself, draws a gold bar at his friend's request. But surprisingly, the picture doesn't immediately become reality. His friend scoffs and throws the paper out the window. But suddenly, they hear an old man screaming in pain. The paper hits him on the head. The man curses them for throwing bricks through the window. But then he sees the gold bar on the ground, picks it up, stuffs it in his pocket, and walks away as if nothing happened. That's when Juan's friend finally believes him. He asks Juan to draw a bigger gold bar, which he does, and a huge gold bar becomes a reality. They are both amazed to see it. Since they live in a small room, Juan decides to draw a huge palace. He kept drawing it, and suddenly, a huge palace was created in the middle of the city. People were shocked to see it, and after a while, the police came. They said, "We were here just 5 minutes ago, and already this huge palace has magically been created in the middle of the road." The officers try to open the palace door, and that's when Juan and his friend realize they've made a big mistake. Juan tries to erase the drawing, but doesn't know how. Then he sees a button on the pen. He presses the button to erase the image, and immediately the palace disappears from everyone's sight. Once again, the people are speechless. Then, back home, Juan's friend tells him, "We need to draw money, at least 20 million taka." He tries to do it himself, draws a number, but it doesn't turn into money. Only a floating real number remains. Then Juan takes the pen and skillfully draws a pile of cash, and within seconds, the room is filled with so much money that it completely stuns them. Later, the owner of the building comes and scolds the artists for leaving their dirty things outside. He tells them to vacate the house because they haven't paid the rent. But suddenly, Juan and his friend appear dressed as clowns, the kind of people who are rich there. Juan takes out a large amount of cash and tells the landlord, "Here's the rent for the next 100 years. The landlord is shocked. He doesn't know where Juan got so much money. The neighbors then see him driving around in 3 luxury cars, where girls entertain him and joke around. He goes to a top real estate company where he has always dreamed of buying a house. There, he finds his ex-girlfriend with her new lover, who is refusing to buy her a villa worth only $15 million. Juan goes to the secretary and asks for 2 mansions in the most exclusive area of the city. He takes out cash and pays for both in front of his ex-girlfriend. She immediately regrets leaving him. That night, Juan surprises his blind girlfriend Tian by taking her to the new mansion he bought for her. He proposes to her in front of all the guests, but Tian rejects his proposal and leaves. He follows her around, asking if she doesn't love him. He tells her that he loves her. So he asks, "If you love me, why did you reject me and embarrass me in front of everyone at the party?" The girl replies that she did it for her own good, because if they get married, she will be ashamed for the rest of her life. Since she is blind and Juan is rich, she tells him that he is not rich. He explains to her the story of the magical pen that came from aliens. When Tian hears about the magic pen, she asks him to draw a pair of eyes for her and make them real so she can see. Juan likes the idea and starts drawing eyes just like a beautiful girl. They wait until the eyes emerge from the image and enter Tian's body. But instead of Tian, the eyes appear on Mangfa's shoulder, which frightens him. They quickly wipe the eyes away, making them disappear like the house. Then they thought, what if they draw the whole face? Will a face come out? That would be just as scary. So they decided to draw Tian's whole body and eyes on her face. It took them 5 hours to complete the drawing. When the work is done, Tian waits anxiously for her sight to return, but nothing happens. She feels as if they have made fun of her, so she leaves the room. But as soon as she steps outside, he suddenly disappears at the door. And with her eyes open, she emerges from the painting. Tian can now see everything. Juan begins to show her around, taking her around different parts of China. But the truth is that the magic pen doesn't create things out of thin air. Even Tian's eyes didn't come from nowhere. Just as Tian regained her eyes, a famous actress suddenly lost her eyes on the set of a film. The incident went viral, and people couldn't help but wonder what had happened to the actress' eyes. The money they used to paint the picture also didn't come from anywhere. The same amount of money disappeared from the bank, and the security camera clearly shows the money disappearing. The police went crazy trying to figure out what was going on. Li Chongyeo became insanely jealous and began trying to figure out how Juan got so rich. When he heard about the bank robbery, he contacted the police, telling them that he knew someone who had become rich overnight. The police discover that the serial number of the money Juan used to buy the apartment matches the number of the stolen bank funds. They go to arrest him and Mangfa in the middle of an art auction, just as people are buying his paintings. Juan and Mangfa try to explain that they didn't steal anything, that they have some kind of magic that allows them to get whatever they want, but they don't mention the magic pen. They tell the police, whatever you want, we can get it with magic now. The police force uses magic to bring them a Ferrari. Juan and his friend request that no one look at them while the magic is working, and suddenly, a red Ferrari appears at the police station. The police are shocked, and since there is no evidence of theft, they are released. That night, someone knocks on their door. They are frightened and think it is the police again. But it turns out that it is Juan's ex-girlfriend, whom her husband has beaten a lot. She came to apologize for leaving Juan, thinking only about money. She tells him that she is divorcing her husband and returning to her family. Juan says that she did nothing wrong by leaving him. What could she do with a poor man who neglected their relationship and only cared about her paintings? At that time, her father was sick in the hospital, and she really needed financial help. That's what her current husband gave her. Juan doesn't make her feel guilty. Then she starts reminiscing, lost in thought, and tells him the whole story of the magic pen. Her husband had installed a hidden camera in her dress, and he saw and heard everything she and Juan said. Now he knew the secret of the magic pen. On the other hand, the police officer was reading a report about a Ferrari that had mysteriously disappeared from an auto expo. It was the Ferrari that Juan and his friend had brought back with the pen. So the officer went straight to their house. He asked them to hand over the magical device that had helped them and warned them that otherwise they would be considered thieves. But since there were no laws against magic yet, if they cooperated and surrendered the pen, there would be no charges against them. Juan didn't hesitate for a second. He was ready to hand the pen over to the police. But the problem is that the pen has already been stolen. It was taken by Li Chong, and he has started using it. The first thing he draws is a magnificent art gallery, which he has always dreamed of. Then he drew royal robes and an ancient palace, which was originally designed to resemble historical palaces in China. He tied up and tortured his wife, and then he drew a beautiful girl from a magazine cover to make it real, so that he could marry her. In fact, the girl was participating in a beauty contest from where she suddenly disappeared and appeared in front of Li Cheng. He made everything he wanted. When the police arrived, the officer explained to him that the pen doesn't create things out of thin air. It steals things from someone else, which means you're stealing yourself. Despite everything, Li Cheng still insists that he did nothing wrong. He just drew pictures. Then his assistant suggested that he use the pen to draw a new spaceship that would allow them to escape from the police. So he drew an alien spaceship, and it immediately appeared in front of them. The aliens in the spaceship came down, furious, asking who had called them and wanting to know where their device was. At that moment, everyone was surprised when they saw that Li Cheng had brought a tank. He climbed inside with his assistants and aimed the cannon to destroy the aliens. But the aliens easily turned the tank's cannon back at them, and it became clear that their physical strength was much greater than that of humans. They beat Li Cheng as punishment for his actions. Finally, he surrendered and returned their device. But one alien became very angry. He was furious to see that the device had been modified to look like a regular pen. He held it up to Li Cheng's face and demanded an answer. Juan came forward and admitted that he had made the device look like a pen himself. This has nothing to do with Li Cheng. The aliens were impressed by Juan's honesty and conscience. He said that this planet was just like theirs, where there was both evil and good. They decided that they would take their device and leave peacefully. But before they left, Juan made one last request to the alien. He asked that everything created by the pen be returned to where it came from. The alien agreed and returned everything to where it came from. Even Tian's eyes, plumbing pipes, and even the clothes that Li Cheng and his assistants had painted were taken back. The aliens noticed that the area was filling up with police cars and helicopters. The situation was becoming dangerous. On the other hand, since their spacecraft had also returned to its original position, they had nothing to ride on. So the aliens fled at lightning speed before humans could catch them. The police then arrested Li Cheng and his assistants for kidnapping the beauty queen from the magazine and holding her hostage. Li Cheng's wife also came forward and apologized to Juan, saying she didn't know there was a hidden camera in her clothes. And he had nothing to do with these. And with that, the story of the magic pen ended.